And we're back with another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast. Thank you for joining us today. Episode 107, number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. Christian Brindle, Glenn Shelton. And as I mentioned before, episode 107. Good morning.
107. Good morning. Got a couple hot takes for you this morning.
I'm ready for some hot takes. I'd like to feel the sizzle.
Woo! Very spicy hot takes. So one is basketball related, of course. Another one is AI related. I'll let you pick. Dealer's choice. What would you like to hear first?
Hit me with the AI topic first. AI take.
I'm watching a Gary Vee interview yesterday. I love Gary Vee. You don't know who he is, guys, you should check him out.
I have a pretty good idea of if it's a clip, which clip you're talking about, because I watched it too, if it's the same one I'm thinking of. But it just came out in the last week?
It just came out. This was a brand new clip.
Was it on the Iced Coffee podcast?
I don't know. I didn't recognize where it was. This is the clip. I didn't recognize exactly what it was, but he says on this interview that he believes in the next 20 years, our grandchildren, so our children's children, will marry AI robots.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay. This is the one. Okay, yeah. I was like, at first when he said it, I'm like, oh, is like he's being like a little facetious, like a little like, he's trying to like rile people up, just trying to generate attention because it's Gary Vee. That's what he does. But the more he talked about it, the more like I could tell he was very sold on this idea. Like I feel like he genuinely believed this idea that, robotics and AI are going to catch up to each other and essentially they'll start interacting with humans and potentially to the point of love interest. What were your? So you saw the clip. So what were your thoughts on that? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Gary Vee is always talking about how he called certain trends correctly when it comes to, social media in particular, platforms, the way content would be shared. And maybe he did, but I can't think of one that I can think of off the top of my head where I'm like, oh, Gary Vee said that like 5 years before what happened. Outside of just social media being big. Like he would say, like, I feel like in 08, 09, 10, he was saying social media is going to be big. And certainly he was correct about that. But I can't think of any like super specific thing other than that he said. And I've listened over the years to a lot of Gary Vee. Not as much in recent years because I feel like it's the same thing over and over and over again. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's, I could, here's what I could see. I could see like, this might get a little gross, but.
Okay, easy.
I could see there being like AI, like, pleasure robots for lonely people. I don't think I could see, I don't know if I could see marriage necessarily.
But look at like Her. Look at the movie Her. Right? Yeah. Like there was no physical form there and he fell in love, like
that movie was so ridiculous though. It was basically Siri. It was like, hey Siri, am I handsome? Yes, you are. Aww.
I'm telling you, I know that sounds silly, but here's the thing. It's like, I don't think he's wrong. It's the timeline that is always, everyone always wants to guess the timeline on this stuff. I think eventually it'll get to the point where robotics and AI will get, you can interact, sit down with someone, have a conversation, and you won't know if they're human or not. It'll be hard to tell, but that could be 200 years from now. I don't know. 20 years seems short to me.
There was this movie that came out that the wife and I went and saw in the last 2 or 3 months. I can't even remember what it was called, but more or less, people could order a robot. it would be programmed with memories of the person that they were being delivered to. The AI would, and the AI wouldn't know it was AI. It would think it's a person. It looked like a human. You couldn't tell the difference.
Terrifying.
So the AI would be programmed with these deep, detailed, memories of how they met, being deeply infatuated and in love with the person that they're being delivered to. Um, and that seemed very realistic, right? Like it wasn't until like 30 minutes into the movie, because they go on this like family retreat together, that I even realized she wasn't a human. I couldn't. Of course, it's an actress, right? It's not really an AI.
Right.
But it took that long into the plot before you're like,
Right.
oh, that's a robot, So I guess it's possible. But I don't know. I'm not quite sure about the timeline itself necessarily, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible. I think probably at some point we'll probably get there where people are doing that. Like our generation will be like the boomers, where we're like, young whippersnappers, you got to be with people, got to marry people.
Humans only. What was that robot? I'm doing a quick Goog here because I can't remember the name of this robot movie. Came out not too long ago. Dude's like out in the woods building robots. Ex Machina. Just found it. Ex Machina. Did you ever see Ex Machina?
I saw that.
Oh my gosh, that movie scared the crap out of me. That movie ends with the robot getting free. Like, again, kind of a robot love situation. The robot gets free into the wild, and you can't tell that, again, it is an actress, it's just a movie, but it's the same theory that Gary Vee had of, robotic humans, the connection between two. Anyway, so I thought that was kind of a crazy take, but to move on to my next hot take here. So multiple basketball games on yesterday. I was watching a couple different games. And you're probably like, there was only one game on, Glenn, is what you're thinking right now. There wasn't, because I was watching the WNBA. I was watching Caitlin Clark play yesterday against the Atlanta Dream, and it was a fantastic game. It was a really good game. It was tied with like 30, 40 seconds left. The Fever go up 1 point, then the Dream go up 1 point. 9 seconds left. Fever couldn't convert. They lose by 1 point. It was their home opener.
My hot take
on this is the WNBA right now is entering its golden era. We are about to witness 90s NBA in the WNBA. There's been no attention on the WNBA. There's been really no money in the WNBA. The fact that I was sitting on my sofa yesterday seeing a nationally televised WNBA game is wild, because even a couple years ago, they didn't nationally televise the majority of these games. This is just a regular season game. You have all of these headlines. Caitlin Clark has brought so much attention and money to the sport. It's crazy. But again, I'm watching this regular season game and I'm thinking about how in the NBA, most of the regular season games, like we've talked about, it's just it's not good television. It's just not good television most of the games. These girls were trying to win. They were super invested in trying to win this game. I could tell every single player on the court wanted to win that game, and that game meant something, I felt like, to everybody playing. And I don't feel like you see that in the NBA anymore. Thoughts, feelings?
I like Caitlin Clark a lot. I'd never sat and like watched a game. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't been there on the couch with you as of yet.
I'll send you a link.
But I do routinely find myself getting shown highlights of hers on Instagram and Facebook as I'm scrolling, and I'll sit and watch the highlight, and
she's amazing.
She's really, really good. I've never seen a WNBA player that I'm like, wow, she's cooking those other girls out there. Like they can't do nothing with her. The other part about that I love, I was thinking about this actually this morning because I was listening to a sports podcast on my way to the gym, and they were talking about this whole Angel Reese, is that her name, situation?
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought about, and it's like,
Great
so
rivalry.
Angel Reese is getting just crapped on all over the place right now because she just is like bitter and like jealous of Caitlin Clark. It's very clear.
So jealous.
I thought about
so
this,
jealous.
right? She might be getting the smoke right now, but every sport needs a good villain.
Oh yeah.
In the league. She kind of fits that mold of like a villain, because like no one talks about her in a positive light. I haven't seen one instance of that, but they do talk about her mostly because of her antics with Caitlin Clark and like the comments she makes. They also talk about how she, misses 6 layups on the same possession. I love that.
Just brick after brick.
But you think about like villains that have been in the NBA. You think about like, I think Dennis Rodman, Draymond Green.
Right. But no, look, you're already buying into plot lines. You're not even watching the sport. And the plot lines are coming. This is my point, though. This is my point. There's never been a time like this in WNBA history where you've got these, and I think so, and I was really thinking about this probably way too much, but I think this was if you were to trace this back, it's the NIL money in college sports. It brought money to women's college basketball, which elevated that sport, which we're now seeing that translate into the WNBA. You're seeing, because the Angel Reese thing and the Caitlin Clark, that rivalry went back to college.
Right.
Caitlin Clark lost to her in the NCAA championship or in the quarterfinals that year, the semifinals. So, here we are now, we're watching this rivalry play out in the WNBA, and it's brought a lot of these fans along. So I think again, this is like Rodman in the 90s. This is 90s NBA. If I could buy stock on the WNBA, I would be all in right now. I'm not kidding.
All in? Whoa.
Buy, hold, sell. I'm like a 10 out of 10 on the W. I'm telling you right now, there is so much growth in this. There's so much growth in this sport. I'm telling you right now, there's so much growth in the WNBA because you have to realize it's essentially brand new. This is ground floor.
It's not brand new.
It is brand new. I'm telling you, in the scope of when you look at like the NFL and the NBA. The NFL and the NBA. I will die on this hill. We'll scrap the whole episode. I will die on this hill.
I remember being a child, the age of my daughter, and going to a WNBA game. That's how old the WNBA is.
I know, but I'm just saying from a growth perspective, right? The NBA and the NFL, like they're trying to become international because they're trying to continue this growth pattern, and there's not really much room to grow here stateside. I think that WNBA has so much room to grow in the scope of things.
It's easy to grow from zero, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's my point, though.
So I'll say that's an interesting take. It'll be interesting to kind of see what happens.
Telling you, guaranteed growth on this is going to be watched. Just watch.
Okay, Charles Barkley.
Watch what happens. Just watch what happens with this.
I'll say like a couple.
Someone said in the comments, you watched the WNBA. I was watching the WNBA.
I was not.
The playoffs NBA is on one channel. The playoffs NBA is on one channel. I'm watching the WNBA regular season on the other channel.
For the purposes of clarity, I was not watching the WNBA. I'd like to make that known. Here's the thing, right? The WNBA, my understanding, has never made money in a year. It's subsidized by the NBA. It's the only reason it can survive.
Yes.
And the NBA takes a loss on it every year. So even if it made any money, it would have to make like significant money to not have to be subsidized by the NBA. I agree with you. I think Caitlin Clark is definitely, I've never seen a girls player like her. But I don't know if I'd go as far as to say I'm all in, but that's okay. That's okay. It's a hot take. It's a hot take, as they say. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Fever game 1. There was a line wrapped around the team store 6 hours before the game where like you've never seen. I'm telling you, the WNBA will be profitable this year. This will be the first year they pull a profit.
History.
This will be the first year they pull a profit. And I wish I could buy stock. I wish I could. I don't know who. Do I need to call Adam Silver? Like, I would buy stock in the yes. Okay, that's my second hot take. I'm gonna end
very interesting, very spicy, very interesting.
I told you I had some good ones for you today. I had some good ones for you today.
All right, let's shift gears into this episode sponsor, shall we? I need to talk insurance.
Please do. Please do. You need to cleanse the palate.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm gonna send you videos like, look who's playing.
You need a swig of Listerine, if you will. Or whiskey, whichever you prefer. Guys, episode 107 is brought to you by 7-Figure University. Okay. If you've been looking for guidance, even if you're pretty established and you're looking for something that can bring new innovative ideas to your business, or maybe you're just looking for some direction, whatever it is you might be looking for, 7-Figure University is a business in a box. It is an north of 200 video library of anything you might need to know to grow your business, all the way from lower level, beginner level type content for beginner agents, all the way to highly advanced marketing tactics and branding and business building information to help you really scale and reach 7 figures. It is everything that we do in our business. We really hold nothing back. We update it constantly. It also comes with weekly trainings with me on Thursdays that are put into the university to be essentially available on demand. It is typically $5,000 one time, which is still a bargain, right? Because there's courses that I would very much feel confident putting our information against that go for 10, 15, 20,000. But until the 30th, it's over 85% off. It's only $695.95. Okay. One new to Medicare Advantage sale really pays for itself in your first year commission only, not even factoring in renewals. This is a steal of a deal, and it's only available for another 9 days. So make sure that you take advantage of 7-Figure U for lifetime access, no reoccurring fees or anything like that. This is the best deal, best bargain that you will ever see in the insurance space for anything. So make sure that you take advantage of it while you can. 7-Figure U.
The link is in the comments on the stream here in the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Facebook group. Guys, Freebie Friday is every single Friday. So if you haven't commented on a video this week or today's episode, do not hesitate. I'm planning on having a list created by someone on our team of everything we've given away this year, because I want people to see how much Christian and I have given away. I'm also willing to say that, like, on the record, say, I don't believe there's a single person or company in the industry who's given away as much for free this year as we have. And we're going to bring the receipts on that one. And we're only halfway. We're only halfway through the year, not even halfway yet. And we're going to do this all year. So I'm excited about that. Comment below, ask us a question, tell us your thoughts, whatever it is. 7-Figure, if you're listening to this, the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Facebook group, jump in here, comment on one of the videos, and then we do that raffle right here in the group every Friday. You'll see that video of us spinning the wheel, and hopefully you'll win.
I love it. I'd be interested to see those stats, how many leads we've given away, how much stuff we've given away.
Yes,
because I know it's a big number.
It is.
Like the retail value, I wonder of what it is
I'm
enormous.
Probably gonna cry. Like, no, it's too much.
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
Too much.
Big topic today on today's show.
Huge.
Referral partners, building them, how to work with them, how to find them, who's the best candidates to talk to be a referral partner for you, and how to really grow your business in a big way. I'll start off by kind of sharing. I talk about this, but I haven't talked about it a lot recently. So I think, people have short memories and it might be easy for people to forget. In the early years of our business, we built our business in a big way by working with different referral partners. I created essentially a network of referral partners here in Utah. And a lot of those referral partners we still work with in some capacity. We've kept relationships strong for over a decade with some of them. We've also developed a lot of new referral partners over the years, out of state, in state, so we have a ton of people that send us referrals that aren't clients necessarily on a pretty consistent basis. Talking hundreds of apps a year in some years that we've gotten from referral partners that, we're converting like any other type of referral, 95, 99%, something like that. So I know a thing or two about this. And at the beginning, I was, as they say, a nobody. And I was still able to develop strong relationships and get referral partners that were willing to send us business for many, many years. Yeah, it's a super interesting topic. And I think it's something that for a lot of agents that come into the business and they're brand new, oftentimes they don't have a huge amount of money that they can fall back on to buy leads or market. Like they need a way to grow their business that might not be necessarily tied to being able to spend much money if they don't have any. So I feel like there is really no better way over the course of time than building referral partners. This is a huge topic today.
It is. And there's so many different ways of slicing this. So I think there's a lot to talk about in the sense of, there's some like really old school ways of getting referrals. There's kind of like cold referrals versus, warm referrals. I think there's a lot of different strategies. So like, I'll tell you one from back in the day when I was door knocking, where this was a strategy that I had used and it had worked. Before I was even in the insurance space, I used to sell door to door. I was a door to door salesman for a year. I did a tiny bit of pest control, but mostly I was selling ADT home security systems. And the person who was training me called it the T method. Once you got a sale at a house, you hit the neighbor on the right, the neighbor on the left, and the neighbor across the street. And you're literally going and saying, hey, do you know Mrs. Jones? Your neighbor? Yeah, I know Mrs. Jones. Well, she just signed up for a home security system with me. So, and you're kind of playing, like, even if Mrs. Jones didn't say, hey, go talk to so-and-so, I bet they would be interested. You're kind of playing this up. It's a little bit of a ruse where you're basically just insinuate you have the relationship, you made the sale, and you're saying, hey, I've only got so much time or so many of these left to do today. I just helped your neighbor. And it's kind of in a way almost like a cold referral in that sense, but it's almost like you're networking right there in the neighborhood, but you're leveraging the information you have. I don't know, even as I'm talking about, I don't even know if you would really count that as a referral. What would you count that as a referral? Is that a referral?
I would say no, but I think it's a good. I think it's and I'll tell you why.
Boom, batting 1,000 today, right? I'm gonna go turn on a WNBA game.
WNBA, and then cold door knocking, strategic cold door knocking for referrals.
Got it. Oh, feeling good today.
I've always heard that is a very strong tactic, though. If you're especially like going on home appointments, you're in the area, you're maximizing your time spent in that area, right, in that neighborhood. So I think it's a great strategy. When I think of a referral, I'm thinking of like somebody sending somebody to you. Like
Yes.
they're so I think that would be a referral if Mrs. Jones was the one walking over there, knocking on her neighbor's door and saying, "Hey, you got to talk to Glenn about this home security
Right.
system."
Well, I guess, and I guess like in my mind, because like sometimes that would happen, right? You're asking the neighbor's pointing out like who's in
Hmm.
the neighborhood, telling you where to go. But a true warm referral, right? When I'm thinking in my head, like cold versus warm referral, like a cold referral would be like, hey, go talk to so and so. A warm
Hmm.
referral would be like they've got so and so reaching out to you, right?
Yeah. I feel like cold referrals are kind of non-existent with Medicare though, because basically a compliance violation to reach out to them. You need permission
Oh,
to
for
contact.
Medicare, Medicare Advantage, yeah,
Right. I mean,
absolutely.
Medicare supplement too, if you're going to do their PDP, right? Like, so, I mean, if you're selling a sup or an ancillary product or a life insurance product, and that is all that's going to happen, and you know that, you're fine. But if you are discussing PDP, if you're looking at PDP, if you're talking about Medicare Advantage, then it's kind of a no-no. Um, so I don't know. I guess I it's one of those things where like in the early years for me, I would take cold referrals and reach out to them on the back of Medicare supplement. And back then the rules were a little different, right? Back then the
Yeah.
rules were if your intention was to talk to someone about Medicare supplement and Medicare Advantage comes up organically in that conversation, then you could scope them and move forward. Nowadays they're a little bit more strict to where, you know, if the conversation starts with Medicare supplement, it's not supposed to end in Medicare Advantage sale, but I don't know how that's even really policed at this point. You know, it's kind of a weird kind of like, so what if you are marketing for Medicare supplement and someone wants to talk to you about Medicare Advantage? Are you supposed to turn their business away? Like that's almost where that conversation leads to. And no one's really able to ever really answer that question entirely, like carriers, compliance officers, everything like that. But yeah, I mean, for me, what I would think about like is really the goal of building referral partners is you're building referral partners that are causing people to call into you, right? They're
Right.
giving people your information and they're calling into you. It's easy. There's not a lot of confusion at that point. I'm not a big fan of like collecting someone's information or and going to talk to them myself because it makes me just a little nervous on the
I mean, it's
compliance
more
of it.
well, it's really, and again, I'm coming from the perspective of the life side of the business too. When I got,
Yeah.
on the life side, some of these, I guess what I'm like a cold referral to me is almost more of a lead if you think about it, and it's less of
Yeah.
a referral really. Because I'm also thinking like, one of my first sales trainers as a life insurance agent, by the agency manager at the time, he was a big fan of um, basically trying to get them to give you 5 names out of their cell phone before you
Yeah.
left the house, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is great. And again, it's one of those things where like when you can call someone up and say, "Hey, I just helped your cousin get a life insurance policy. You know, I would love to help you get one too." Is that a referral? Nah, not really. Like even if they told you to call them,
It's
you
prospecting
know,
is what I would
it's
call
it's
it.
networking maybe, more than a referral, but I think
Yeah.
in this sense, a referral partner is someone external to you is saying, "Hey, you need to go talk to them or you need to call them," right?
Right, right. And they're not a client, right?
Right.
As a referral partner. Like I wouldn't call like a client that sends us a lot of referrals a referral partner necessarily. You know, I would
That's a
call
referral partner, but not in the I
I
mean,
guess
they're sending you referrals.
we're getting really granular with this. I think of referral partners if you're working together, you can't I don't know how you'd work with a client. You know, you can't pay them, you can't send them anything,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
So that's my I guess viewpoint on it. Like I think getting clients to give you referrals and getting non-clients that are other business owners to give you referrals are very different things.
Yeah,
Um, and they're both important. They're both great, and you should
right.
try to mine referrals for both of them. But for the sake of this conversation, let's talk about like other
True
business owners, right?
true
Yeah.
business referral partners. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll share some of mine that have been really fruitful for us over the years.
Yeah.
Um, our biggest one, funny enough, and I don't think no matter how much I talk about it, people don't seem to remember that this has been kind of an expertise of ours. Financial planners. We've done tremendous historically getting referrals from financial planners, and I'm happy to go into details on that as we go. We got plenty of time left on the show. Um, CPAs, right? Like our CPA, for example, gives us a lot of referrals. Their employees, their staff, probably 20% of their staff are clients of ours.
Yep.
So when I walk into that office, I will see usually at least 3 or 4 clients of ours, depending on who's working that day. And there's more than that. They're just not all at the office at the same time. Dentist offices. We've gotten a lot of referrals over the years from dentist offices. Elder law, attorneys, P&C agents, other Medicare agents that aren't in your state.
That's a great one. That's a great
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And sometimes your best referral partner is from an unlikely source. I've gotten referrals from yogurt shops, gotten
Yeah.
referrals. I was getting a referral for a little while from a smaller like gym, from laundromats. When I lived in Florida, I was getting referrals from assisted living facilities and 55 and up communities. Yeah, I mean, there's so many, there's so much here. So, how do we eat an elephant? I would think the first place to start is, first off, who can be a referral partner? We kind of talked about that, but I would say there's going to be prime candidates that can be referral partners that are going to be most likely, but don't rule out others as well. Like talk where your
Yeah.
feet are when you're talking
Yeah.
to someone that could potentially, I would say a good referral partner by definition to me is anybody that will have a similar demographic of clientele that you will potentially. And that's a lot of people when you think about it. That's a lot of
Yeah.
different businesses
That work with seniors.
that can work with seniors and Medicare beneficiaries. Doctors' offices, people talk about a lot. I've never had a ton of success personally with doctors' offices, but I feel like you really do need a hookup with a lot of those.
Yeah.
Especially like when you're dealing with like chains of clinics and things like that, because like you're dealing with chains of clinics,
big
and
corporation behind them.
yeah, like the person that's going to decide if you can get a referral from them or work with them in any kind of capacity, they probably aren't in that building.
Right. Right.
It's really hard to find that person to get to that person. The best kind of referral partners are like the decision makers in that office. Somehow you got to get to that decision maker or that building, which we'll talk about gatekeepers too and everything like that. But this episode of the 7 Figures or Bust podcast is brought to you by my mini course, How to Find and Buy Books of Businesses. Guys, in 2024, Glenn and I, in our combined company, purchased and acquired through acquisition 900 clients. And over the years, we've purchased thousands of clients to grow our agency internally. And we've learned a thing or two over the years, right? There's certain things you need to look out for. You need to know how to value a book of business. You need to know how to transfer everything, what the expectations are in terms of the timeline. And you need to know how to put a deal together and structure it to protect yourself while still at the same time doing good business with people. Guys, this mini course is around 10 videos long. It's a quick and easy thing to get through. And it's a great way for you to grow your book of business in 2025. Whether you're finding an agent that is maybe been in the business for decades and they want to retire, and then maybe they don't have any kids to take over their business. Maybe you're looking at a situation with an agent that just hasn't been able to make it in the business and they're just looking to go off and try other things. Buying books of businesses can be a great way to quickly and rapidly grow your business fast. And we've unveiled all of the little tools and tricks that you need to know in this training. It's a one-time purchase for only $197. For that price, we're practically giving it away. Make sure to check it out now. Now back to the show. So the way that I did it early on, and I'm not saying this is the way you guys have to do it, but I'm just kind of trying to show that any effort can bode positive results, even if it's not the most efficient.
Right.
I would make a list of, let's say, my top 3 types of people, maybe CPAs, PNC agents, and financial planners. Let's say that's my top 3. I'd make a list of 20 to 30 names of each type.
Yep.
And then if I had some free time, I would travel to their offices and I'd drop in. And I'd see if they'd be willing to talk to me. It's kind of it's like prospecting from the standpoint of it's a numbers game, right? Let's say 2 out of 10 tell you yes, or 3 out of 10 tell you yes, or whatever the case might be. You just kind of build up these people. And for me, I was trying to get as many referral partners as possible. What I found would be a better approach was sending them a letter or an email or mailing them something, better yet, and then a week or 2 later dropping into them. I call that like a pre-approach communication. So like what I would mail them was I published my first Medicare book, I think in 2016, I want to say. So I ordered, we used to order a bunch of copies of these and I'd give them to clients and everything like that, just kind of explaining Medicare 101. And I would mail that book with a letter introducing myself to the financial planner, let's say.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for someone that's a financial planner that's not doing Medicare too, because some of them do Medicare as well. So if they're already doing Medicare, they're not going to want to work with you. But my pitch was always, hey, my name is Christian. And I specialize working with Medicare beneficiaries. That's my bread and butter. I don't do financial planning. So this does only work, this strategy, if you don't do what they do.
Right.
But that was a big selling point for me, is like, I don't do what you do. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are other financial planners out there right now that are using Medicare to get in the door with your clients. And then once they're in the door, they're coming back and they're trying to replace the annuity or the security or whatever product you might have on that client. So by not having a Medicare solution for your clients, you're essentially opening up the door for your competitors to get in and replace your business.
Let me ask you a question here at this point,
Yes.
because I've been down this road before. I feel like Medicare is such a great business model to ask for referrals. I feel like it's harder to set up strong referral partners on the life side, but I think you still can. I had one where I got in. I can't remember the company, but it was originally a direct mail lead. And then I was talking to this lady and she wanted life insurance because she had life insurance through her work. She was going to lose it when she retired. And then I ended up getting like 3 or 4 referrals from that situation. But but this specifically with referral partners. So let's say you're talking to this financial advisor. You have a great conversation. They seem all on board. Oh yeah, we don't do Medicare. We'd love to send you all of our Medicare referrals. You're thinking, sweet, this is a slam dunk. They said yes. 2 months go by, you don't hear anything. Yes, 3 months go by, you don't hear anything.
This is a great question and will happen.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Absolutely it will. Definitely it will.
So when I first started doing this, I got 2 or 3 different referral partners that I, basically got verbal agreements from that they'd work with me. A couple financial planners, 1 PNC guy. And that exact thing happened. A couple months went by.
Nothing.
I don't get anything.
No referrals. Right.
So I'm like, because I'm, 21-year-old Christian is like swimming in the referrals, man.
Right.
I'm never gonna have to cold call again. No more leads. Referral City. That's what I'm thinking. And it doesn't happen. What I learned was you need a lot of referrals. That's why I say your best bet, unless you can find a referral partner that's a gold mine referral partner, and they're out there, but they're a dime a dozen, or no, they're not a dime a dozen. They're a needle in the haystack. Excuse me, wrong phrase. Referral partners that don't send you referrals are a dime a dozen.
Yes, that's
But
often the case.
so what I figured out was, if, let's say, I want to get, let's say, 1 to 3 referral partners that are going to send me referrals consistently, I need probably 10 to 15 people that have agreed to do this with me.
So you're playing the numbers game rather than, are you following back? Like, if you haven't heard from someone, are you dropping by again? Or are you sending something again in the mail or an email? Are you calling them up? Just, hey, what's going on? Just want to touch base with you. Like,
Yeah, I've tried all of the above
sure.
historically, right? So over the course of years, what I learned was, you know, you you follow up with them maybe a couple times, maybe you drop in, maybe you send an email, maybe you offer to take them to lunch. But there are people out there, kind of just like, I think about it like, for those of you that work with agents, if you recruit an agent and they won't sell, they won't work, they won't do anything, you can spend all of your time with them, 100% of your day, and it's not going to change anything. That's the same thing with referral partners.
Yeah, totally.
So I what I found was, I think you do follow up with them a little bit, but I think once you've got a pretty good idea that they're not going to really send you much of anything,
You move on.
you just move on, right? And so
Yeah.
I would try to get a big lion share of referral partners. So like at one point, I think we had about 15 financial planners that were sending us referrals, but the spectrum of those referrals was vast. We had a couple that never sent us anything. We had a couple that would send us some here and there, right? We had a couple that would send us 20, 30 a year. We had 1 or 2 that would send us 100 or more a year, right? So like and so this kind of becomes the question of like, you have to bring value to the referral partner. I feel like this can't be overstated. So many people approach a referral partner with, here's what you can do for me type of mentality, and they never talk about what I can do for you. What I would always tell them, specifically for financial planners, what I can do for you is, number one, I don't do what you do, so I'm protecting your business. You're not
Right.
letting the fox in the hen house, if you will, which is
Right.
other financial
Right.
planners that do Medicare. For what you do, I will edify you. I'll send them back to you. Like, we will work in tandem. I'll pay you a referral fee of $100. It's always what we've done.
That's what I was
per
going to ask next.
per
Compensating
client,
referral
we
partners.
write. And I've had people say before, oh, you should never do that. That's dumb. I think the person that says that is dumb. Like, why would you not? I have now some people are like, oh, financial planners are not going to care about $100. Some of them don't, but some of
It's
them
not
do.
about the money though. It's not about the money. And in my opinion, it's about the positive reinforcement of the relationship. It's about knowing that, hey, this is working. Even if
Mm-hmm.
they don't care about that $100, they know that, and I think you could do other stuff too. Like, you could drop in and bring by donuts. That's a big one that I know a lot of people have done.
Yeah.
Just drop by, do some gifts, like buy lunch for that. Like, but you're staying top of mind this way too. So
Yes. Yes.
it's
But
positive reinforcement. You're staying top of mind. I think it leads to more referrals ultimately.
I think so. Here's the thing. Here's my point in terms of the money aspect of it. Some of them do care about that. Some of them, that is their
Oh, for sure.
motivation of
For
sending you the
sure.
referral. Like, one of our financial planners, he's probably sent us over 300 clients in the last 10 years. He's retired now. Don't hear from him as often. He's a client now, but he sent us over 300 referrals. Had a great, long, fruitful relationship with this guy. 300 referrals that we wrote, I
That's
estimate.
a lot. That's a lot.
His only motivation was that $100. That's all he cared about. So
Here's a
it's
C note for you, sir.
so
One Benjamin.
so you're throwing multiple aspects of the value you bring in because you don't know what they care about, right?
Right.
Like, his mindset when I would talk to him is, I'm getting a piece of this Whereas without you, I wouldn't be getting a piece of it, and I don't have to do anything. Right? Like I'm benefiting financially off of this, and I don't have to spend any time on it. All I have to do is send them to you. That was his whole motivation. And 300 referrals, right? $100 over the course of the years. That's what, 30 grand we sent him.
Yeah.
Is my math right?
Yeah.
So that's not nothing for doing nothing, but sending them to us, giving them our name and number.
It's a car.
That's a car. So like, I had a guy one time that was like, he's a guy that speaks on stages and stuff. And he's like, oh, it's dumb to give people referral fees. No, it's not. You don't know what someone's motivation is. I'm sorry. You just don't. So I think anybody that says that has never really worked with referral partners in a real way.
Yeah.
So let me rewind. Let me circle back, because there's some things I want to touch on. What for financial planners, as an example, the benefit I'm presenting is I'll protect your business. For some people, that's the motivation. I will send you a referral fee. For some people, that's the motivation. But then the last motivation is I'll send business to you. And for some people, that's the motivation, right? You send them referrals. I've been asked before, if you have 15 financial planners, how do you decide who to send the referrals to? Very easily, who's sending me the most referrals?
Right.
And then whoever's sending me the most referrals, that's who's getting our referrals. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a really good system that allowed me to get a lot of easy layup deals early on in my career. And you just adjust the process a little bit, right? Like, you can't compliantly probably pay everyone $100. Like, what's nice with financial planners is they're in the industry, so that helps from a compliance perspective. But you find ways to bring value to to the CPAs of the world, the elder law attorneys, the dentist's office. And you mentioned a second ago, right? Like dropping in with donuts, like little things like that helps. The other day, a couple weeks ago, we ordered a big box of bagels for the office. It was one of the few times I cheated and had when I was talking to you on the phone. I was like, well, we ordered 3 boxes of bagels because in our suite and in our office complex, there's a CPA that sends us a lot of referrals, and there's a dentist's office that walks people over to us that schedules appointments.
That's really nice. Yeah.
So I dropped in and gave both of them boxes of bagels. Like, hey, was thinking about you guys. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Like, it's a relationship. So like, that's really how I did it, and the way I would approach them, like I said, is the thing that ended up working the best was a copy of my book with a letter written out, highlighting everything I said, what we'll do for them, why we're good at what we do, our credentials. I'd send that to them in the mail, and then probably 2 or 3 weeks later, I'd just kind of drop in when I was out and about, and I'd be like, yeah, I sent you this package, a couple weeks ago. And they're like, oh, that was you. It's like a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
I love that. I think
that's what I did. That's what I did. And we still have a lot of these referral partners today. I don't do it anymore because, again, time, lack of competing priorities. But it was a really big thing in the beginning of the career.
What I can tell you from the past year of being in the agency too, as some of the different referral partners that Christian mentioned, I think one of the most underrated referral partner sources that have been discussed would be other agents.
Yes.
There's for a slew of reasons, there's other agents who just can't or won't write business. They're either too, I've seen it during AEP where agents are just so overwhelmed, they're just sending people to other people because they can't help. They're like, this person, I'm sending this person to you. If you can help them, I don't have time to write this person. Just situations like that. The most common one for us is out of state. Their clients moving out of state. They need a different plan. They need to talk to someone. Hundreds of referrals, you guys. It was shocking to see last year how many referrals we were able to receive at ESI from other agents. So even, obviously the the financial advisor is such a great referral partner for the exact reasons Christian just highlighted. But even agents who are in the space and who are doing what you do can still be great referral partners. So don't discount them either.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point, and it's so true. I mean, if you want a good reason to go to events and network with other agents, specifically like conferences where people might not be in your state, that's it right there. There's a lot of people I
Yeah.
know that have developed very fruitful referral relationships where, like, for us, we have the most common state I will usually see clients of ours move to is Idaho.
Right.
We're licensed in Idaho, but like if we weren't, there would probably be a lot of clients we could send to someone in Idaho, if we developed a referral relationship.
Right.
And I'm sure back and forth, we see clients move from Idaho to here and things, and so I know it really, it's something I did not really learn for many years, that other Medicare agents could be a great referral source for us, but they definitely have been. And I would say the vast majority of agents that do send us referrals, and a lot of you guys do, the number one motivation is that they know we're a good shop. They know we'll take good care of their client. But the second motivation is we're willing to pay them the $100 referral fee.
Yeah.
So they're not just like losing the client for nothing. And that kind of helps kind of ease the pain of losing a client, right? Moving away, or,
Yeah.
going in a different state, or
Yeah.
whatever the case might be. I've had agents before that have taken this whole stance. I've seen it from afar, I guess, of, no referral fees. The guy on stage said so that doesn't sell Medicare. Um, and, and, they've had someone that has like a couple, let's say, that's moving to another state. And they're like, yeah, I'm happy to give it to you. It'd be nice if I could get some kind of referral fee or something, that'd be great. They'd be like, don't do referral fees. And like, they'll lose it. And I'm like, is that not dumb? Like, what's the definition of dumb to you? To me, that's the definition of dumb. Think about the lifetime value of that.
That was literally the words I was about to come out of my mouth. Is you have a lifetime client value of $1,000 to $2,000 easily.
Yeah. And you don't want to pay someone $100.
One time $100, because if there's a chance, I mean, you're putting wood on the fire, in my opinion. Like you're most likely going to get another referral by doing it. So
from that same person, or from those
and
clients.
what's your average CPA? Most of you are probably paying $200 or $300 for a CPA right now, anyways. Your cost per acquisition. So why not? I'm honestly, I'm pretty fired up about that. I feel strongly about paying that referral fee.
Yeah, like, and the reason why I even knew about that situation is because since that agent wouldn't pay the referral fee, guess who got the referrals? Us.
Yeah.
ESI.
Yeah.
Because we would pay the referral fees.
So here's like the dark side of this conversation is the agents out there who, and I see this happen all the time, especially on social media, right? You have someone who's built a big book off referral partners, and they talk about how they have one referral partner, like Christian mentioned, this one guy that referred over 300 people. What happens, and I've seen this happen with newer agents, is they think if I get one referral partner, two referral partners, I don't have to do any more marketing. I don't have to do anything else. They'll have those conversations, they'll set up these relationships, and then they're sitting by their phone waiting for it to ring, and it's not ringing.
Right.
I think it's important to have referral partners, and I think you should kind of build in, especially early on in your career, I think you should build into your schedule, like, hey, I'm going to spend this much time per week or per month. Maybe you're spending like an hour a week, 4 or 5 hours a month, every month, where you're dedicating that to talking to referral partners. It's kind of like the BNI conversation we had, except when you can actually go pick out your referral partners, or you're targeting specific referral partners. I'm 100 times more in favor of this than joining a random network of people and you're not sure if anyone's really going to be a good fit for you in a BNI group. But like, it's something you're going to slowly build over time. after you've been doing this for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, what happens is between the referral partners, between your book of business and your existing clients, you'll start to get, your phone will start to ring, and you'll start to get people. I mean, we passively wrote hundreds of people last year at ESI from exactly that type of situation. So huge fan of referral partners. I want, if a new agent's listening to this, I don't want you to think you can go talk to like 2 financial advisors and then you're set for life.
Yeah.
Because I think some of
Definitely
you
not.
think that. Yeah. Some of you
Definitely
think that.
not. So to kind of like, I guess, put some clarity on this, on like what you actually would need to do for this to work. And again, our agency wasn't built on this solely. It was a very valuable thing, but we were always doing other things, right? This was something we were doing in the background, in a sense, that became very fruitful over time. But we were always finding multiple ways to prospect, and we were always staying busy and always, writing new business through different methods. I would, instead of thinking about talking to 2 financial planners, if you're watching that and that's kind of what you're taking away from this, I want you to think about talking to 50.
Yeah.
That's really what you need to be thinking about.
Yep.
And it's going to be some work, and it's going to be, a little bit of trial and error, and you're going to get a lot of them that tell you no. You're going to get some that want to recruit you into financial planning. You're going to get, I've seen that before. You're going to get some that you're going to get some that, you're going to get some that write Medicare. You're going to get some that already have a referral partner, right? You're going to get rejection, just like with anything. But if you can find through the playing the numbers game, some good financial planner partners, and not just financial planners, really, with anything, it can bear a lot of fruit. But understand, you're not going to talk to one guy and most likely develop this amazing partnership. It's very rare that happens. You almost have a bit of divine intervention if that happens to you.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's that misconception that I think comes along with being a new agent, where maybe you were given a pie in the sky point of view, or you heard from another person where they did have that situation, because it can happen, right? You can come across a referral partner where they're happy to send everybody that fits into the box of needing help from you, right? For Medicare or final expense, whatever your line of insurance is, right? Whatever your referral is, and they're just sending people over to you. The neat part is you could also set up some of these ancillary products as referrals too.
Sure.
We didn't, we're kind of already at the top of the hour, but we didn't even really talk about that as a potential. I knew somebody who did really well with getting referrals for disability insurance, because it is kind of a niche thing that a lot of people don't do. And so they kind of carved out their own little spot for disability. And again, this is not a senior related product as much, because it's usually a younger working class person that wants disability coverage to replace their income if they become disabled. But when you think about, we talked a lot on the show about all these ancillary products. You could create referral partners for, dental, vision, hearing, for cancer, for all these different things. If Medicare is not a good fit for that referral partner, and now you've increased potentially the number of total referral partners that could reach out to you. You might find the right dentist office where, Christian was talking about having Medicare referred, but maybe they would even be able to work with you on the dental insurance side or the dental, vision, hearing side. I mean, that's huge.
Which, several of our dental office referrals that we have today they will send us, probably half of the referrals we get from them are for individual dental plans, and probably the other half are for Advantage plans that have dental benefits. That's usually what the result ends up coming from. So absolutely, that's a great point. The dentist office is referring you because they want that person to have coverage to pay the claim so they can get paid.
They want to get paid. Yeah, exactly.
So they don't care how that happens, depending on the situation for the client. We had them walk over this dentist office that we work with here in the office in our building, we had them walk over somebody 2 years ago, I want to say that, and for some reason I was the only agent in the office that day, so I ended up taking it. I was available. This was probably one of the last apps I wrote from them, from any referral partners or anything like that. But lady comes in, plan F, like $450 a month. We move her to a plan G, 270, and we give her a dental plan. That's what came out of that. They walked them in, met with me on the spot. 45 minutes later, we were done, and that was the result.
Beautiful.
And then I think we did her PDP and AEP a couple months later. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be an MA product or a med sub product. Like, there's a product line that makes sense for that referral partner. Absolutely, go for it.
Yep, I love it. Mr. Brindle, we're at the top of the hour here. Final thoughts on how you can explode your business with referral partners, episode 107.
Yeah, my final thoughts are, one thing I didn't mention that you can definitely do as well is like organic social media, right? Like, whether it be Facebook or LinkedIn or something like that, like connecting with other professionals that way can be a great way in 2025. Instead of, doing it the old school way with dropping in and things like that. Like, you could have a lot of conversations with people organically on social media platforms and develop referral relationships that way. Joining Facebook groups that are strategic and becoming a real asset for the Facebook group and becoming known as the person. I think it was Coach Burt that said the person of interest, right? For that,
baby.
For that Facebook group. So like, there's a lot of ways you can do it sitting your ass on the couch too.
For sure.
It just takes a little bit of effort and, connecting with the right people. And really, to me, I can't stress this enough, emphasizing the value that you bring to them and never really concentrating on what they can do for you. So those would be my final thoughts.
I love that. My final thoughts, you guys, I think referrals can come from all sorts of places, and, don't try to like prejudge people or referral partner. You never know, honestly. Specifically, and I kind of got derailed on, I think early in this episode, on the idea of just asking for a referral or getting a referral, or what qualifies as a referral. I think you should always be asking for referrals.
Yes.
I think you should, it should always just kind of be top of mind, telling people what you do, asking them if you know anybody who needs help, if you need help, just constantly having that conversation, I think, can really add to the bottom line in your business. And again, as someone who's essentially made a career out of paid marketing, what I can tell you is a referral is one of the best forms of marketing. One of the best leads you can get is when someone already knows who you are, they were recommended to you by someone else, and they're essentially showing up, asking for help. So definitely continue to ask for a referral. I think maybe we should do a whole nother episode on just like asking for referrals, or how you can get more referrals from your book of business, or how you can get more referrals from your leads. I think that's kind of a separate conversation that I would love to also have, is just how to get more referrals from different places, or how to ask for referrals. But in general, I think this whole conversation of getting referrals is super important, and I think can really help sustain your business long term. So those are my final thoughts on today's episode.
Great episode, guys.
Yes.
If in whatever platform you might be watching on, whether you watched live or whether you watched the replay, whether you watched video, whether you watched audio, we appreciate you watching all the way to the end.
You watched audio.
Yes, you watched
if
the
you're
audio.
Watching the audio right now.
It's new technology, haven't you heard? You can consume audio through your eyes, and
I'm watching the audio.
However you consume today's episode, we certainly appreciate you making it all the way to the end. Make sure to, again, as we mentioned earlier, comment on the live stream in the Facebook group, 7-Figure Medicare Agent, to be entered into Freebie Friday. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel, audio-only platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Here's to your massive success. Thank you much, everybody.